Welcome to Winning Inside, the show where we follow the journey from feeling defeated to winning. Here are your hosts, Cheddy Matthews and Michelle Wickman.
Hello, amazing people. Welcome to the Winning Inside podcast, where we discuss real issues, insights, and solutions to help you thrive in your day-to-day lives. We know life happens, and we can choose to be a spectator or a participant.
These conversations and stories are about the participants, the ones who made the choice to do the inner work and found a way to keep moving forward.
Michelle, how are you this morning?
I am well.
You know, I got to admit, when you start talking, did you see me? I started smiling as soon as you started talking. So thank you for that. It's like a cup of sunshine in the morning. So I know that sounds corny, but it's the truth, though. You started speaking and I started smiling. I'm like, it's Michelle again. So I know listeners must be like, what is up with these two? But I appreciate it.
I honestly don't know either.
But thank you for that. Oh my gosh.
Oh no. Well, so I have to, obviously, but my son has been homesick all week.
Yeah.
And we record on Thursday. So we're talking about 4 days at home away from school. And
misery.
Happily, popping in every few minutes to check in on me, except for the first couple of days where it was pretty laid out. But
that's good.
It's one of those things where it can feel sort of frustrating, at times because you feel like, I feel like I cannot get a flow of things, right?
Yes.
I can't get in the flow of my work, or I feel like I can't. I feel as though I'm being inefficient,
yes,
if not ineffective with the tasks that I have laid out for myself this week. And so it's turning some of my thoughts into these inward and really looking at, some judgment on myself and just all kinds of things where I just am like, oh man, this is feeling kind of worse and worse right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also take time to think, I am so lucky.
I know.
Right? Like,
no.
I'm so lucky that I work from home because I work for myself.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky that my son actually wants to interact with me.
Hello.
This year.
Yeah.
So I'll take it, and it's just those reminders that, gosh, he's 15. So I have 3.5 more years before he's probably going to peace out and go to college. That's one thing, but it's less time than that even before he's going to want to spend more time with his friends and probably less time at home. And I don't blame him. I certainly was that child in high school. It was always sports, find open gym somewhere, go play volleyball, go do events with my friends on the weekends,
Yeah.
So it's, on the one hand, I was, sitting there with these negative thoughts and really judging myself for not accomplishing the things that I really set out to accomplish. And then on the other hand, I was just saying, oh my gosh, just enjoy this, right?
Yeah.
And be grateful for this opportunity to spend some quality time with your child, really nurture him and care for him. And that I have the flexibility to just say, okay, well, I didn't get those tasks done this week and it won't be the end of the world. It's going to be okay.
I love how you turn that feeling of overwhelm and that frustration into such a positive thing. And you were able to use gratitude, which is what we're going to talk about today, to kind of do that, which is pretty awesome. And I think it's something we should dive into because, wow, how gratitude can really change your outlook on your day. Mm-hmm. It's actually one of the things I try to start my day with. And I know you do as well, Michelle. It's one of those, if you had a morning routine, I'm sure if you had a book of the 5 things you do in the morning, I'm sure one of them is some form of coffee or tea or something warm. And another one is definitely gratitude. I don't know what the other 3 are, but I know one of those is gratitude. I know one of those is coffee or some warm drink. Are you still on decaf, by the way? Or you back to caffeine?
I am. No, I'm still on decaf.
What?
I know, it's amazing.
I'm impressed. I'm super impressed. But I love the outlook gratitude gives you. and how it makes you so happy, because sometimes we can get so caught up on the lack and the negativity and what we don't have. But when you take a moment to kind of pause and realize what you do have and focus on what you're grateful for, it's almost like more things happen in that vein. It's almost like training you to see what's already around you. You've probably seen this clip. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, training yourself to see what's already around you. And I know people have used this analogy before. So whoever hasn't heard it before, just sit back and enjoy. But I went and got my toenails painted. And honestly, like, I never have an idea of what color I want to get. And my niece had just gotten accepted into Cal, and I was just all fired up because I'm a Cal alum, you know? And so blue and gold is our colors. And I picked this blue color, and it was definitely not the Cal blue, but I said, hey, I'll just do blue, right? Which is not that attractive on 40 something year olds, but whatever. That's not the point. The point is that I just went for it. And I was having a conversation with my boyfriend at the time, and I said, this is such a weird color, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, it's kind of unusual. I don't know that I've ever seen that color anywhere. And we walk out of the salon, and there's literally like 2 cars parked right in front of the salon that are that exact same color as my toenail. So the point is, we are talking about this color, and we're talking about how we don't see it anywhere. And then all of a sudden we're noticing every single blue car that is this exact same color everywhere, and we see it everywhere. But that is exactly how you condition your brain with gratitude, to see the good. So to not lose sight of the good and all the abundance of good that's around us when we're focusing on, you know, the scarcity or the things that we don't have and the things that we want to fill that space with.
Yeah, that's the reticular activating system in full action right there. You had something in mind, you had a certain color in mind, and now you're more aware of that thing, whatever it is, in your environment. So you walk out saying, I've never seen that blue before, and you see that blue. Well, let's flip that around. If you say that you don't have anyone to help you do something, and then you realize that people have helped you all your life, or that I don't have this and that, and you start to be thankful for the things you do have, it changes your space, because it just helps you to focus on what's already there. This is the funny thing, is it's not always something new. These are things that are already there. But what it does is it puts your mood. Just think about chemically what it's doing to your body. You're now in a place of satisfaction, happiness, ease, calm. You feel like you're abundant, which is the opposite of lack, which is beautiful. It's just a beautiful space for you to think, act, and do, and just conduct your day in. So it really can change the whole disposition of your being. It can change the whole situation in your life, in your day, and just everything you're doing can actually be improved just by changing the outcome or the outlook you have on the day. And that's what gratitude does. We don't do it enough. And I think I would challenge everybody to really consider finding something that you're grateful for, whatever it is, and start small. I start my day with 3 things, I've probably said it a few times, like the win. I like a win, a smile, and something motivational or inspirational to start my day. That win for me, a lot of times, is something that I'm grateful for. That's a win. I can look at that as a win. So if I start thinking about things that make me feel like, wow, I did that, I had that, I've got people that love me, I have a roof over my head, whatever it may be, if I focus on those things and celebrate those small wins when I first wake up, it sets me off on this mindset of, I'm in a good space. It's going to be a good day. Things are really good. Things are going really well for me. And I've also noticed that the counter to that, if I start the day in the opposite, and that happens sometimes, if you ever wake up, as they say, on the wrong side of the bed, I don't know what side of the bed that was, whatever was, but if you wake up, quote unquote, on the wrong side of the bed and you're just miserable, oh, I banged my toe, I did this, I did that, I did this, and it's miserable, that misery precedes another misery, another misery, and another misery. And it just seems like that's what you see for the day. And you've probably heard people say that they will go back in the bed and start their day again and try to recalibrate that. But misery, being the opposite of joy, can be one of those things that can really throw your day up and make your day heavy and make everything around you seem harder. And if we're trying to focus on ease and trying to focus on growth and we're trying to focus on bettering ourselves, a good way to do that is with gratitude.
Yes. So gratitude is a mindset and it's also a feeling. So if we really just start the process of thinking about the things in our life that bring us joy, the things that we are grateful for, the things that, give that powerful emotion within our body. So it's a sensation that's heavily aligned with love. And you can actually feel it. And oftentimes where I feel it is more in my solar plexus. So around my, heart and that kind of area, there's a sort of a energy or maybe a warmth to it. So if you close your eyes and really just think of all of the things that you're incredibly grateful for in this moment or even in the past, then you'll start to generate an emotion within your body. And that emotion within your body will change. What Cheddy's talking about is will change the actions that you take going forward in that day and in that moment. So the actions that you take will come from a positive, powerful energy of love, as opposed to kind of, sometimes we'll take actions from a sense of desperation, or it's like, I need this thing, I want this thing and I don't have it and I need it. And it's a lower vibration. It's a lower, more negative energy where you feel almost desperate and graspy, right? So starting to take actions from that energy of love, the energy of gratitude, and that emotion within your body will actually shift the results that you get to reinforce that experience and sensation of gratitude.
Beyond that, it's more, I'd say it's multiplicative, because if I see you, Michelle, and you're in a grateful space, it's going to help lift me up into that space as well. It's kind of hard to not be lifted up when you see somebody who's being grateful. That is one of those things that's infectious, and you can actually change the outcome of someone else's day, which benefits you as well. It has a synergistic effect. And if I'm grateful and you're grateful and we're grateful and someone else sees us and they're grateful, and by grateful, it's just the whole attitude of gratefulness. And as Michelle put it so eloquently, it really is a mindset and a feeling. And that's a beautiful way to put it, because you can think of something that makes you feel grateful and become grateful. That's just I had never heard it put that way. That is like spot on. Just gonna let you know, Michelle, I'm gonna steal that. So just know that. So, but that was really good. It was really good. And thank you for saying it that way.
Of course, these are all universal truths, right?
Of course.
And the way that I say it is different than the way that Cheddy's going to say it. It's different than the way that other people are going to say it. And that's why it's so important that, these messages are reiterated. And the way that you say it, maybe to somebody else, is going to also sound a little bit different out in the world, right?
Yes.
And yes, these emotions and these feelings can be infectious, just as the opposite can be infectious, right? So when you go into a room or you're engaged with somebody who's, hasn't slept all night, maybe they're a little frustrated, maybe they're upset, maybe they missed, something and they're internally bashing themselves, that energy can be infectious too, because what we do is we look at it and we think, okay, what's wrong with me, right? A lot of times it's like, why are they acting that way towards me? Or, we make up stories in our brain about what's going on. It's the same thing with gratitude. If somebody comes up to you and they're just, and again, it doesn't have to look like super positive, bubbly, or anything like that. It can look very peaceful as well. So when that's the case, people are oftentimes like, what's going on? Like, what's so great? I want to know what's happening. Tell me more. That kind of energy, people can really, they can absorb it. They can recognize it in your eyes and your demeanor, in the little, facial movements that you have, your body language, you're standing up straighter. All of it changes just with how your state of mind is and the emotion that you're generating from that.
Michelle's probably looking at me like, why is Cheddy getting so animated? Because the example you gave when you've just started speaking in this little section was me this morning. I've been up it's too early to say how long I've been up, but I've been up for like 5-6 hours already. And it's too early to have been up for that long. That's all I'm going to say. It's way too early in the day to have been up for 5 or 6 hours already. And I got on this call, and Michelle, you saw me. I was like, eyes were crossed. My voice was scratchy like this. And I was just like, Michelle, I'm so tired. I've been working on the same math problem for like X amount of hours. I mean, I just said this. And then I was like, so how's your son doing? And you started going through the stories. And as you were talking, I could feel myself smiling. And I was celebrating your celebrations and what you were grateful for. I was celebrating that. And then it made me think of other things. As soon as you started doing it, I started thinking of my own children. And it made me smile even more. And no joke, within about 3 minutes, my whole disposition changed. And I felt it. I actually felt the difference. I felt my energy levels spike up. And it started from the point where you started talking about your situation and you converted. You just started talking, and then it started to convert into gratitude, just in the way you were saying it. You were explaining that, your son isn't feeling well, but yet you were grateful for certain things in there. And I was like, wow. And it was interesting how smooth you did it. I mean, because it wasn't intentional. It's just who you are. I mean, you do these things with expertise, but you do it with unconscious expertise. Like, you just do them because it's just who you are. But you did it. And I was like, whoa. And I've got to expound on that because it seriously changed and I'm sitting here like, holy smokes, you just did that to me this morning, like a few minutes ago. So I'm stressing to you how the efficacy of gratitude is a real thing. It really works. And you did it for me. And you're actually hearing the results of somebody else's gratitude, which turned into positivity, which affected me and has increased my energy so I can actually do this podcast without sounding like I did 30 minutes ago. So wow. That's just as real as it gets. That's all I was going to say about that, Michelle, because it just blew my mind.
Yeah, well, thank you. I also want to just touch on the fact that, as I mentioned a little while ago, that gratitude doesn't always change your energy to this, I'm on stage. The way that I picture it is like, what is it? I'm in a shower and I'm singing like something from Elf. Like, it's like in my brain, those are definitely not the words. But the point is, like, it's not this like crazy, wild, high energy, right? It doesn't have to be. It could be. You could get there, but there's nothing wrong with you if you don't, right?
Yeah.
If it gets you to a neutral state from a deeply negative state, then you did it.
Yeah.
Way to go. That is a huge win.
Yes.
And so that's what we're really looking for. That's what we're looking for in terms of the application of gratitude in your life. And you said you start your day off with gratitude.
Yeah.
It's also powerful if you sort of check in, have a gratitude check-in. And so it's not like you're having to sit back and do, a meditation 2 times a day to really create peace within your brain. Sometimes you don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So when people have photos up in their office space, or maybe they have like a memory somewhere. The reason why these things are so powerful in your space is because they're moments of gratitude for you to reflect upon in the midst of a stressful day.
Yes, totally agree with what you said. And it's beautiful how you incorporate it into every part of your life. I think it's something, you're right, because, I can be hyper bubbly sometimes. But it really is a phase change. You just change from one state to the other. And we're trying to always increase that state, increase or maintain our state so we can experience life in its best and its, the best potential we possibly can. And I think that's what you do. And it's what it enables you to do. But now let me ask you this, Michelle, or let's discuss something else. What if we are going negative? Life is rough. Like, you're in the throes. You know what I'm talking about. You're in the doldrums. Like, things just suck right now. Nothing's good.
Yeah, that's called August for me.
Flat tire, the heel on your shoe breaks, it's raining, you didn't bring an umbrella. Just one of those days where it's just everything you see is just, stock market's down. And, no matter what you look at, it just seems like storm cloud after storm cloud. And it's like that storm cloud is following you and nobody else. It is what it seems like.
Yeah.
In that space, when you're in the real throes of something, or when you have something that happens that is just tragic, or just disappointing, that is literally something that makes you upset, sad, angry, or, any of the negative emotions. How do you use gratitude in that space?
Well, okay. Those were a lot of examples.
Oh yeah. That's how my mind works.
And I'm not saying that this applies to all. However, there are definite opportunities for applying gratitude to them. But what I personally do first is I just want to do a check in with my emotion, period.
Yes.
So, what is the feeling within my body? Where do I even feel it within my body? So, noticing that typically when I'm getting, having that emotional reaction to a stressor outside my body, a flat tire, or, a difficult relationship conversation, I will feel all kinds of tension across sort of my upper thoracic area. So like my collarbones, my shoulders are super tight. So I just really take notice of those sensations because they're so present, right? And it's relevant because it also takes me out of the thinking brain where I have a tendency to incredibly ruminate over negative thoughts, right? So I'll take this thought and I'll just spin in the freaking spin cycle in the washing machine that just doesn't want to end. And then I'll just start throwing in new negative thoughts on top of that, right? That's my tendency. So what I like to do is sort of pause and just check in with my body and feel the feelings, feel the sensations in my body so that I kind of get out of my brain a little bit, out of my thinking brain a little bit. And this, honestly, it could take, if I really need it, I'll take minutes to just feel those feelings. Yeah. And other times I don't have time for that. My eyes have to stay open. I'm engaged with somebody else. They're stressing me out. I'm just like, okay, feel the feeling in your body, because if I'm processing their words and I'm processing my thoughts at the same time, I'm going to be reactive to what they say. Yeah. So rather than do that, I allow, whatever information that they're offering me. I don't have to believe in it. I just allow them to deliver it, and I just check in with myself first.
Beautiful.
At that point, I assess, okay. And I use humor a lot, so you guys are going to have to forgive me. And I know I've said this before. I've said this on the podcast before, but hangover, did you die? Right? And sometimes I want to say it to people who are complaining a lot. I'm like, but did you die? Like, you're literally complaining about something it feels so innocuous. A delay in your Starbucks order or something like that. I'm just like, what's going on? But I check in with myself, and I like to use humor too, because the levity really just shifts my energy a lot. And I also know that emotions, both good and bad, will pass. Yes. So the common phrase, "this too shall pass," is absolutely applicable to all things, good and bad, right? Yeah. So like, when my child was young, I definitely took it for granted that I have this very limited amount of time, because you're just like, how do I balance all the things that I have? But it's like, hey, this too shall pass. Like, he will eventually move out of my house, right? Yeah. Just like to this week, this too shall pass. He'll go back to school, hopefully tomorrow, but definitely next week. And this too shall pass. So yeah. I really like to, look at that phrase and really feel it too, yes. Is knowing and believing and understanding that all emotions pass. Now, I definitely suffer from depression, and, it's something that I've used medication for, therapy for, but I have to say that life coaching, and because I have a coach, yeah, and I have had coaches, and I totally advocate for all the things, right? Whatever works for you, like yep. Whatever, if you want the medication, work with your primary care, work with your therapist, work with your psychologist, whatever. Just know that these things are not permanent. So the impermanence of life is, and we can do this on another podcast, but it is a power that can drag you down, or it's a power that can really propel you forward, yes. Knowing that everything is impermanent. And so I recognize the impermanence of that moment, and that helps me to choose. Now, again, I am human, so I want to acknowledge that I do get reactive. And then I have to go clean that ish up too, like I do have to apologize, and I do have to eat my words. I do have to say, oh my gosh, I am not being my best self.
Yeah.
But I think the point is that we aspire to something,
Yeah.
and I aspire to continue to improve that process so that I can move from the negative into a more positive impact in my environment, with my community, with my family.
Yeah. I really like that. And it's interesting how the way you do that, the way you navigate that is so aligned with who you are. I think sometimes gratitude can look different for different people, and how you find it can look different for different people. So for me, I like, I like adventures. I like trying new things and doing risky things. So what I do a lot of times is, see, you say, did you die? Me, I always go on to the Elton John song, I'm Still Standing. That's one of the songs that would go through my head whenever I'm feeling like down a little bit, like something got me. I'm like, nope, I'm still here. I love that still here component of it. Like I didn't quit. I didn't give up. I'm still here. I'm still standing. And that has always been really meaningful to me. But in the throes of a time, and if there's a time when I'm frustrated and really am finding it hard to find gratitude, I'll be like, all right, Ched, this is an opportunity for you to learn something. What is the lesson from this situation? Doing that has helped me immediately have a shift and change that situation from being one where it's like, oh, woe is me, to, okay, how do I deal with this? What is the best way to deal with this? Is this a reference point for my life? Or am I supposed to be learning something that I can help someone else with? It totally changes the way I deal with that situation. And it helps me have a level of responsibility with the situation, because I realize people are watching me. Most importantly, my children. And then secondary, everybody else. Tertiary, me. And how I deal with one thing can sometimes reflect how I deal with other things. So I have to be for myself and my self accountability, I have to be very careful how I navigate a situation. So I look to find gratitude, because to me, it's just a more powerful thing. I feel like I have more power if I can find gratitude in a situation than if I don't. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe it's right. I don't know. It works for me. And what we're telling you here, just so you know, there are many ways to find solutions in your lives. We're just offering some that work for us and some that we share with our clients. But as you know, we try to do things that are based on us, and we try to give you real information, and we're sharing like real talk, because this is what we do. And hopefully it is of benefit to you. But I will tell you, if there's something that we say that works for you, use it. If it doesn't, can it? It's okay. No love lost. No love lost. At the end of the day, go ahead, please. No, I just want, at the end of the day, I want everyone to just grow and excel and be better than they were when they first came in. That's it. Back to you, Michelle.
Okay, I thought you were done, and I was like, no, wait, there's more.
I love it.
I just had a thought. It's really important.
Please, I hope it didn't go away. You still got it?
So, yeah, oh no, of course. Yeah. So I also wanted to acknowledge that we talk a lot about goals. So it's future thinking of the things that we desire, the person we desire to be, the things we desire to have in our lives. And so when we talk about gratitude, it's oftentimes focusing on the present moment of, how can we feel in the space that we are in now, that peace and gratitude and acceptance and love for all the things that we have. And that is an experience of abundance. Now, with goals, oftentimes there's a gap, right? There's a gap between where we're at and where we want to be, or a gap between what we have now and what we want to have sometime in the future, right?
Yes.
So when we talk about goals, it's not a matter of saying we're not grateful for what we have now. But as we go in pursuit of those goals and we have setbacks, the power of gratitude, that's where you drop it in. Right? Yes. Because we look and acknowledge of how far we've come. And like Cheddy said, he's still standing, versus the distance that we have left. Right. And we may be just, very short, couple yards, maybe like 10 feet into this mile-long journey that we're in. But we look at how far we've come versus how far we have left. We look and we continue to look forward instead of focusing on that gap that we're at. We're looking at how do we keep moving forward. And so again, the reason why I'm mentioning this is we talk a lot about goals. We talk a lot about the things that we want to have or the people that we want to be, but we don't lose sight of the gratitude for what we have done the people who are in our lives, the things that we do have. And that energy is going to increase your cadence, if you will, on this journey towards that destination, towards that goal that you want.
Yes. I have to agree. I think what you're saying, I can't even talk now. What you are saying makes so much sense. And I think it's good for people to understand because we talk about this all the time. Life is a journey. It really is. And it's a destination and there are many ways to get there. And it's very easy for us to compare our journey to someone else's or get on ourselves where we are or where we aren't. But no, be grateful for where you are and focus on that current place where you are right now. I think that's a beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate all of what you have said. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing because I'm looking at Michelle's face. And she's making these facial expressions.
Don't look at my face.
Sorry. You know what? We do this the way we do this because if we were in the same room, we'd be cracking up the whole time. We should not be cracking up in this format in 2 different places. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Cheddy, thank you again for a great.
We can't talk today.
Cut it.
Oh no, it's staying in.
Thank you again for a great podcast recording, and just I want to express my gratitude to you for pushing me, quite frankly, into this podcast journey. And allowing me to practice using my voice, which, as you know, had been quite difficult for most of my life.
Yes. And
being able to offer, hopefully, some ideas, some, hope, or generate some positive energy or emotion with our listeners.
Yes.
And also, as listeners, as you guys know, if you've listened to the last few podcasts, we are on a mission to shift 500 minds. The original one in the next 50 days. Now we're under 30. We're well under 30, about 27. And how are we going to do that, Cheddy?
We're inviting you to join us in this challenge by sharing this podcast or any other episode that has made impact on your mindset or your life with 5 friends. So you can do that by sending us an email directly to winninginsidepodcast@gmail.com and let us know who you've shared our podcast with, or if you'd like more information on how you can work with us.
So let's go help 500 people transform their mindset and just watch what happens.
Take care and stay amazing.
Thank you for listening to Winning Inside with Cheddy Matthews and Michelle Wickman. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure to click the follow button, rate and review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can connect with Cheddy and Michelle at winninginside.io. Keep listening. Another episode is coming soon.